And I think both parties have been guilty of that. And I see it today more than you do because it's worked its way into the bureaucracy. If you look at the agencies and departments, they have terrifying powers that we in Congress oftentimes are helpless to help you with. You come to us and we say, you know, we don't have anything to offer because some committee in Congress years ago advocated that power. And other than cutting funding off maybe. And so to me, the IRS is the last straw, and maybe the NSA is another last straw, where, and I can tell you when it comes to the NSA is snooping on it. Now, it's still a question as to how much, but they are collecting the metadata on your phone calls, and there is someone within the NSA who can make a value judgment about that information and can dip down and get content. They can do that. Now, whether they're doing that or not, I have no idea. They tell us that they're not. But again, are we supposed to trust our government? Well, I can tell you, the NSA never informed me, your congressman, that was going on. I voted for the Patriot Act renewal, the authorization renewal, but I was told that data was not collected by government, that it was left in the hands of the phone companies, and they only through a subpoena, only through a specific subpoena directed by a judge with suspicion was your data ever looked at. And then I come to find out, no, that isn't true. That data is being collected in computer warehouses, and you've got a FISA court that says, well, in certain cases it's okay to look at it. We're not going to wait for you to get a subpoena. We're just going to give you pre-approval for that. And so you add that to the IRS. It's been used as a political tool. Around 300 conservative groups have been targeted. Not a single one of them have been approved for their application for tax exemption. And on the other hand, there was only 16 progressive groups who even had a question, and most of those were approved. Now, folks, that is targeting. I don't care how you look at it. And that is, and it didn't stop there. It didn't stop with the conservative groups. They requested information of who are the people who have donated to your group, who are members of your group, and they've gone after them too. In some cases, more than one agency, not just the IRS. They've shared that data back and forth. We're learning all this information through our hearings. So what I'm saying to you is, our government was not designed for trust. Our government was designed for accountability. And so it is up to you, it is up to me as your congressman to make sure your government is accountable for what it does, for what it looks at. But again, going back to Obamacare, remember that the IRS is going to have an even larger role in your health care than it does in your finances. The IRS is going to collect more data on you, financial data, and it's going to be sharing it with CMS. It's going to be sharing it now with 2 departments and maybe more. And there's no reason for us to continue this. There's no reason for you to give up that liberty and that privacy under the 4th Amendment. No one has proven that any of this is beneficial for your health or for your safety. There is no proof of that whatsoever. And so I certainly look forward to working with you that we push that back, that we maintain the 4th Amendment. We can get good health care in this country without allowing the government into the details of our lives, and there's no reason why the IRS should be targeting anybody in this country. That's not the case.
Is that the reason I put the rule is that is behind what Snowden did?
Yes, Snowden released the information. Now, Snowden is no hero. Okay. Some people think that he is. We did learn this information from Snowden. When Snowden could have come to the media or to Congress. Instead, he goes to our adversaries, and no telling what kind of information he gave them. So he's no hero, but we did learn some things from this, and we're going to learn more. All right, where are we time? We need to start wrapping up. Let me make sure I get quick questions here from others who haven't had a chance. Yes, sir.
We talked about what all we have with our contract.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's good about it.
Okay.
And one of the things that's good about it, and we've done something about in Louisiana, is the waterways, Red River waterways, and so forth. And one out of every 7 jobs in Louisiana is water connected. And the Corps of Engineers, it seems to me, and you've heard this from me before,
Right.
on waterway and us
Yeah.
visiting.
Yeah.
What can we do with the Corps of Engineers where they let up on a little bit, because Bitler Steel is putting in $900 million,
Yeah,
and they'll be finished by 2015 with
Right.
a full thing, will have
Yeah.
1,000 employees and all the other jobs that been created. And yet we seem to be stalled at the I-220 bridge to
right,
complete the navigation project on to Texas County.
yeah,
Y'all don't have to hear this more. Yesterday, I finished my 15 years, and I decided it's time for somebody else to do this. But we're interested in jobs. If people can work, they can work around a lot of these problems we have. So I think it's Corps of Engineers, in fact, I know it, we sent letters to you and other people, that they're thinking about just shutting down for 4 hours a day. If you got a barge coming in loaded to come to Shreveport, well, of course, those people at Steel and other places tell us, how do we know you're not gonna cut it down to 12 hours?
right, yeah. It's
And the investment in this state and the jobs, what do you think has made Shreveport and Bossier grow? The Red River.
Right,
And with all of the stuff they're doing, tell us what us in small towns can do, and that we can do. We can drive to Shreveport and get a job, and many people are.
yeah.
But right now, I want our people to have jobs, keep us from moving.
All right,
You
well,
know something we do.
let me give you the bad news, and then I'll give you the good news. The reason why this economy is not growing, the reason why we're stuck where we are, where government can't fund things, and where jobs are not growing, is because we are interlocked in an epic battle in Washington like you've never seen before. We've got one group that wants to grow government and make government have a larger role in your life and dictate to you how you should live your life. We have another group that believes in a limited form of government, and it says that you're smarter than anybody in Washington when it comes to your needs in your life. And that you are better able to deploy your money towards opening a business or growing a business or investing in something than Washington is. And we have a deep gulf, a deep divide in that, and a deep division. And until we come to some agreement on that, we're just stuck, because one group wants to move one way, one group wants to have more Obamacares, more big government solutions, more taxes. Another group wants to have less taxes and less government. And somebody's going to have to win that battle before we determine which way we go. Now, you know what side I'm on. I'm on smaller government, limited government, because I know that the private sector can deploy that capital and do so much better job. Now, we've raised taxes now almost $2 trillion under the Obama administration. $1 trillion for Obamacare and $620 billion under the fiscal cliff tax increases. The top marginal rate now has gone from 35% to 45% when you add in some of the new Obamacare taxes and things like that. So what has happened is that our debt and deficit is out of control. And you have a binary decision in Washington today. If you can continue to grow food stamps, for instance, which has gone from 33 million to almost 50 million Americans now, you don't have money to build roads and highways and bridges and infrastructure for distribution. The money is not there. And that's where we're stuck at. We have got to reform our entitlement programs. They're going broke. Medicare will run out of money in 10 years. Social Security in 22 years. And now we're adding a whole other entitlement system, which is Obamacare. We can't keep doing that and expect that we're going to have money to put into infrastructure. And so I'm like you, I'm very frustrated with the Corps of Engineers. They're trying to find a way to continue to conduct business, but with less dollars. And what has happened
They're on the
is,
contract, 24 hours a day,
right, but
365
if they don't have the funding, they can't live up to their contract. And that money is going someplace else. That's what I'm telling you. And so you've got a binary decision. I would like to say that we don't make money out of thin air, but frankly, we do make money out of thin air. But there's a limit to how long you can do that and get by with it, and how much money you can borrow from other people. Now, what is the good news? The good news is that 30 states in this country have gotten the clue about how to run things. Across the country, you've got 30 states that have conservative leadership. They've reined in unions. They have brought school choice and school reform. They're growing jobs. But in the other states, and you look at Detroit, Michigan, Detroit had its way. It had its socialistic utopia and the Union Center of the universe for 50 years. And it completely devastated and destroyed that city. And the only thing that's going to bring it back is to bring back conservative reforms, smaller government, and more enterprise. California, their personal income tax has been raised to 13%, and they still can't balance their budget. So we're going to have more reform. It's like in Washington and in those other states that's going on in the 30 other states. And we have an excellent opportunity to have, of course, the growing energy sector out of this district, distribution center, which would be waterways, rail, and highways. We're trying to complete I-49 all the way through. Hopefully bring in I-69. Hopefully it'll be in our lifetime. And then also enhance our air. That would make us a wonderful distribution center where we can have all sorts of facilities here that's manufacturing and delivering just in time throughout the world. We have the capacity to do that, but to develop that infrastructure and have help from Washington, we're going to have to fix our problems in Washington, and I need your help on that. Because that's where the jobs come from. Government doesn't create jobs. All government does is move money from one pot to another. When it comes to jobs, that's created in the private sector where every dollar invested comes back in multiples of jobs, revenue, and in taxes, as a matter of fact. So if we start following those formulas that work, we're going to have jobs. But quite frankly, it's going to be very difficult to get there until we repeal Obamacare, which is a wet blanket over our economy right now. Reform or repeal Dodd-Frank, which is cutting off all of our capital. Bring down the debt and deficit, and to get government to pull back and let the private, with all the rules and regulations, and let government do its, let the private sector do its job. Folks, that's what it's going to take. Well, look, I've enjoyed it. We've gone past our time, and come up to Washington, come see us. We'll be happy to work on your individual problems, your policy problems, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for turning out today, and God bless you.